shackles will tie his heart to his wife. Okay, so this first part, I want to conclude this part about there should be no criticism. Decide, take on a Kabbalah, no criticism. You will see a dramatic change at home. Your husband will be less punch drunk. He'll be more open. He'll be easier. It doesn't happen overnight. Okay, don't make declarations. Just like. Just like. Right, that's number one. Okay, the second thing, where you're guaranteed, if you do this and do that, you're guaranteed happy marriage. Why is a wife dissatisfied? You know why you're dissatisfied? One of two reasons. Either the wife doesn't believe in Hashem, not connected with Hashem, and she thinks things are random and happenstance, where she's going to walk around depressed all day long. Because if you're connected to Hashem and you've learned the garden of emuna, and you realize that Hashem everything does, we said Borer Manhig, Hashem is creator and director. That's the end of the first principle of emuna. Hashem did, does, and will do everything. So if your husband gave you grief, and you argue back with the husband, you know what that means? That's like arguing with a dog. A dog doesn't have a brain. Right? What does a dog do when a dog gets hit with a stick? The dog grabs the stick, right? Grabs the stick. If the dog had brain, he would circumvent the stick and grab whoever swung the stick with the pants leg. You have to stop and think. If your husband gives you grief, and if the Rambam tells us the first thing of being a Jew is believing that everything comes from Hashem, it's not your husband. It's Hashem Yitbarach. So you have to stop, time out, not react. Any soldier knows that you fire from the hip, it's going to be inaccurate. And beloved sisters, I'll give you ahead of time, this is about one of the articles in 2 weeks going to be in Breslov World. It's the 3-second rule. The Yetzer has power over you for 3 seconds. Okay. If you can compose yourself for 3 seconds and not react. Now, 98% of the women in the world, they react. And when you react, you have no control. It's not you, it's the Yetzer. Because the Yetzer has control. With the flush of adrenaline, is what happens physiologically. But it's the Yetzer that goes and controls what the Torah tells us, your liver and your gallbladder, your spleen, the left side of your heart. And you feel this rush inside you and you react. You have no control over that reaction. It's like throwing a stone. You control whether it's going to hit a window, the wall, whatever goes, boom, that's finished. No control. If you could count to 3. 3 seconds. You get to lose control. All you have to do, if you can remember, Yud, K, Vav, K. Shiviti Hashem L'negdi Tami. Just took Hashem's 4 letters, Yud, K, Vav, K, in front of your eyes. That's you, Hashem. Okay. Now your brain is already back. You have your brain back already. Day and night difference. Day and night difference. Once we react, we don't have control. And once we could just stop for a moment. Now this is more of a man's job than a woman. Because a man is governed by logic and a woman is governed by emotion. It's very difficult for a woman to do. Okay. But still, this is what happens. If you don't want the Yetzer, if you don't want to lose control to the Yetzer, 3 seconds. That's all he has. He has no longer control 3 seconds. But if you start within that 3 seconds to react, then he has his foot in the door, and now the Yetzer is behind the driver's seat. So now the Yetzer can be controlled for the next 2-3 hours that the argument is going to ensue. Okay? So you have to remember that. That's a 3-second rule. But that's just an aside. Put it in the aside, you know. But I think work on positive reinforcement and put in your mind that criticizing your husband is treif. Criticizing your husband is tantamount to eating pork, and you wouldn't do that. Okay, that's it. The second is gratitude. Once again, you have grief from the husband. To believe that the emuna, we have to strengthen our emuna. Realize that everything is from Hashem. So that Hashem, why is this grief? Maybe, Hashem, this grief I'm getting from Him, it's much better than being sick. Okay, thank you, Hashem. All right, show Hashem. As soon as they thank you, Hashem, then you've solved 51% of the problem. Carry around a little notebook in my pocket, and always pens in case one pen doesn't work. And I'll show you what's written in this little notebook. And this is something I tell the women, but I practice what I preach. Okay. And I got home from shul before I had to go from Ashdod, Yerushalayim, and I had fresh squeezed orange juice waiting for me. That was dynamite. That was dynamite. I had laid out for me a fresh iron shirt. Okay, one thing, I could do a lot of things. Fly a helicopter, fly a plane, do all kinds, a lot of different things, but I cannot iron a shirt. Once that mixed up, and I was my Rebbitzin was in the hospital, and I was so mixed up. The phone was ringing, and the iron, and this I almost put the iron to my ear, almost iron my. Okay. I appreciate every shirt, and she won't let me walk out of the house with the wrinkle. So when I had to iron my shirt, I said, well, I got so frustrated and burnt thumbs and this and that. Okay, ironed the collar and the rest of the shirt and walked around in the middle of summer like this. Only this collar was sticking out. The collar's ironed. When we pay attention to the little chasodim, the little favors, the little loving kindnesses and compassion our spouses do to us from day and night, we fill up a notebook like this once a week. Once a week, it just gets filled up. So much. Couple come and complain, and we do the same thing to Hashem. We have complaints about Hashem. Okay, this doesn't go. This doesn't go. What about the 999,000 things that do go properly? Our hearts, our lungs, our eyes, every single moment. You know how many brain impulses it takes to move a finger from here to there? I don't know whether it's 20 million or 200 million brain impulses to move our finger 90 degrees. Hashem does all these zillions of miracles. We have to recognize husband, he brought home salary. He didn't take not long ago we were in London. You know, be happy, you know, Hashem created you, you know, you're Jewish, you have a Jewish husband. You ever see what a British husband is? And it doesn't just matter the factory workers, the lawyers and the accountants. They have separate pubs for factory workers and separate pubs for doctors and lawyers. Okay, they don't come home from work. They go to the pub. And they come home inebriated. And they don't bring home their money to their wives. And even the big professionals, the guys with the James Bonds and the ties, they whack their wives off. One of the things is a dangerous intermarriage. Remember once a non-Jewish girl told me in university, you know, why they want a Jewish guy? Because Jewish guys do two things. They don't beat their wives, and they bring home their salaries. You know, just to be happy. Look at the little things he does. His good points, Rabbi Nachman talks about this all through Likutei Moran, especially in Torah Reish Pei Beis and Azamra, looking for the good points, focusing on the good points. And you know something? Suppose Rabbi Nachman says, even if you take a crook and you find a good point, then you uplift him and up from the status of the crook. If you take your husband in your eyes, he's deficient here, deficient there, but you look at his good point, you with your own two hands will uplift him. And it's not just a story. It's a story. Well, look what Rachel did to Rabbi Akiva. Beloved sisters, do you know that there was a time in history that we almost lost the Torah? The entire Torah was dependent on Rabbi Akiva. The Romans destroyed everything, everything, and the whole Torah, the whole oral law that Hashem gave to Moses, it was all on Rabbi Akiva's shoulders, and the only one was left was Rabbi Akiva's 5 Talmidim: Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Meir Balanes, Rabbi Yossi ben Chalfata, Rabbi Lazer, and Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai. And from here, the entire Mishnah goes, the entire Gemara, on one heartbeat away from forgetting Torah. Rabbi Akiva, all. And Rabbi Akiva, he was the son of converts. Till age 40, he could not read and write. We owe our entire Judaism today to one woman, Rabbi Akiva's wife, Rachel. And Rabbi Akiva, she married him. She gave up everything. Her father was the richest guy in Yerushalayim. Kalbitza, richest guy in Yerushalayim. She saw his good midas. She saw his good character traits. She finds that Akiva, when they had a son, and the son went to Cheder. Akiva, why don't you go to Cheder and learn with son? Learn, everybody's going to laugh at me. You know the story of the donkey with the planter?